Why did you decide to run for the 6th District Court of Appeals?
Well, I've been on the Common Pleas Court for the past 10 years, and with that, while I was on the Common Pleas Court, I've handled a number of complex cases, to include civil cases in the multi-million-dollar range, as well as criminal cases, ranging all the way up to homicide cases. And so where I sit now has provided me a great deal of experience that I think would be a value add to the 6th District Court of Appeals. And so with that, and given my background and experience, moving to the 6th District Court of Appeals, to me, as I said before, is a natural progression. I believe and hope to think in the arc of my life, I am always looking for challenges and opportunities to do new and worthy good work. And so the Court of Appeals, Judge Singer, who's been on the Court of Appeals for quite a long time, she is retiring. And so the opportunity presented itself, and it seemed like a good time for me to transition.
What previous judicial experience do you believe will be beneficial if you're elected?
As I said before, the experience that I have on the trial bench in the Common Pleas Court, oftentimes having that trial experience on the Court of Appeals is a value. As a trial judge, you understand what's going on at the trial court level. The Court of Appeals hears cases that come from the lower courts, the trial court where I am now, municipal courts, and other courts. And so to have the experience of knowing what's going on potentially behind the scenes and understanding how the entire process is working from a global perspective, I believe is a quality, and a good quality to have as a Court of Appeals judge.
How do you plan to uphold the law and apply it equally?
I was at a continuing legal education seminar not long ago, and a colleague of mine, her name is Judge Bernice Dowell. She's a 6th Circuit Court of Appeals judge. That's in the federal court system. But she was giving a talk on justice, implicit bias, etc. And so one of the things that she said, it really was simple but so profound to me, was, look, we judges, we need to make sure that actual justice is being done. But in this time, and in this case, more importantly, we need to make sure that the perception of justice is being done. And so there are a number of things that I have done to that end. With this COVID, the pandemic, it is required us to modify our operations. And one of the things that we have done is we have made use of technology. And so technology and the use of it effectively has allowed those who may not otherwise have access to the justice system to have access now. Some would argue, and in years past, if you did not have means or money or the financial resources, that the justice system was not open to you. And so with the increased usage of technology, I believe some of those barriers have been lowered, and I am fully embracing the opportunity to use technology and to make sure that access to justice is open to everybody.
You mentioned that the courts and campaigns have had to modify their operations due to COVID-19. What methods are you using to reach out to voters?
Well, it is extremely difficult. Not only do I believe that the law is a people business, but certainly running a campaign is a people business. And when there have been precautions and protocols and restraints placed on your ability to interact with people, that certainly has been a challenge. What we have done, again, embracing technology, I'm sure you understand the social media world way and far better than I. But we have embraced social media and the social media platforms. And so we've used that, I believe, as effectively as we have and can. And I think that is consistent with the social distancing and protocols that are obviously in place and necessary in these times. And so social media, we've also have had some limited opportunity to have contact with individuals and voters. There are not all operations have been shut down. Yes, the parades have been shut down. The festivals essentially are shut down. But there have been some limited occasions where we've been able to interact with folks, obviously following those social distancing protocols. And so I believe that's been effective as well. And so this has been an interesting year, to say the least.
What do you want voters to know about the way in which you will make decisions if you're elected to the bench?
Well, some of the things I think are extremely important and critical is I think I would bring to the court a diverse set of experiences and perspective. One of the things that I often bring up is my background. And so I was raised by a single grandmother who sold Avon to put food on the table and to help me in school. And so um, she taught me that hard work and education were the two highest and most probable ways to elevate your circumstances. And so I've tried to work hard in my life. I've tried to do the right thing. Look, what I live by is, I say that I'm just a judge. I'm never judgmental. And so I tell you that to say so people can glean how I am. And I try to walk with humility. I try to treat everyone with dignity and respect. And so inherent in that is that element of fairness and equality. And so I live that every single day, and I apply that in my judicial philosophy.
If elected, how will you serve as an advocate for the people?
Sure. Well, certainly there are ways to do that. As a judge, you have to be extremely careful to not act in such a way one might perceive you or your actions to be partial to one group, issue, or otherwise. And so judges are required to follow certain judicial canons, and I certainly follow those canons. Now, having said that, I think one of the biggest things I can do is serve as a beacon, as an example of what the justice system looks like, what a judge looks like in treating people again with fairness and dignity and acting in such a way that you're a reflection of the judicial system and judges in general. I know, as I was when I was your age, and those who are looking at adults like me, that people are watching. And so I take that responsibility seriously, that people are watching me and young folks and looking to me as a guidepost, as an example of how to conduct themselves and how to make a difference in the community. And so, in addition to making sure that you're setting a good example, I think the other thing is just be involved. So, whatever causes that are consistent with the judicial canons and your requirement that you remain impartial, there are a lot of good organizations and causes out there that are just strictly designed and contemplated to help people. And so I've been involved in those organizations, been involved in this community for a very long time. And any opportunity I get to give back, I do that.
Based on the experiences you've had in this community, what are some things you want to see change? And judges do have the power to do that while applying law equally.
Sure. Well, as I said before, there are disenfranchised communities, disparate communities who their health and wealth gaps, their education gaps, and there is certainly in this time a perception that justice is only for a particular group or society or parts of society. And so, as a judge, I'd like to see obviously some reforms in all of those areas, and specifically where I sit and my role as a judge. Again, I can take affirmative steps to do what I believe is important work, and that is to create better avenues for access to justice. And so I've expressed some of the things that I've been doing so far, but technology is the biggest example of that.
What else do you want people to know that I haven't asked you about?
Well, sure. Look, I serve this country. I've served the community. I've talked to you about my community service. I sit on a number of boards: Mercy Health, Salvation Army, Frederick Douglass Community Center. But in addition to that, I served this country in the United States Army. And so when I did graduate from high school, I really didn't have any money to pay for college. And so I had to figure out how to do that. And so I joined the Army like many men and women do. I did a couple years on active duty, and then there was a program called Green to Gold, in which you would go from Army green camouflage to a gold second lieutenant bar, and in that process, you would get a college degree. And so I took advantage of that opportunity. And so in addition to serving the community, serving this country, I've told you about my experience. I've told you about my education. And so I have a desire to elevate those who come in front of me. I try to be involved as much as I can and give back, as I have said before. And if I was to be elected to the 6th District Court of Appeals, trust and be reassured that I would take that job with a great deal of sincerity, honesty, fairness, and experience.
Judge Myron Duhart, thank you for your time.
Thank you.